scenario, like on which basis you will convert your microservice, like your monolithic into microservice architecture, and what are the drawbacks? Like sometimes people thinks like we have microservices, lots of good things, but there are like along with that there it comes with some
Right.
issues also. So I want
Yeah,
to.
yeah. So, see, when you are moving, so there is, I could say there is no reasons if you don't have to move to monolithic if it is applications is, it's running with not lots of load, or you have a small application. There will be not much user base. Then so there is no reason point to move to the microservices, because microservice is more complex. If you're going to break the components, connecting between the different modules, observability, monitoring, logging, all these things you have to taking care. And also you have to taking care in between the how you are going to expose the microservices, where the other microservices should be connecting to that. There is a transactions also will come into picture in between, how we are going to handle the transactions in microservices. So I could say, see, there are depends uh, on the requirement basis, how what you put with the load of the applications, how so basically when you go for the monolithic, you have to, if there is small change or something, you have to deploy the whole application, right? And there will be downtime on this. And if you are going for, let's say, any kind of upgrade, or any kind of or if you are going to scaling the application, so you have to bring the whole applications to another instance and scale it out. So there are there are a lot of limitations, I could say, in micro monolithic applications, because another thing is you could not do the parallel development on monolithic applications. So uh, there will be lagging on developing the monolithic in a parallel way.
Mhm.
And
Okay.
yeah, so and if you look at the transactions or all this specific, there is some benefits, because it will be inside the applications, right? If you have the asset properties, it will go inside the monolithic applications, you can handle it much well. So there
Mhm.
will be consistency. If you look at the consistency side, might be microservices will be little bit fail or something you have to take care
Mhm.
on the microservices. But in monolithic applications, that will be more advantage to handle the asset property. And you can also database sites, if you look at, so database sites, you have if you have monolithic applications, you can have only one database, let's say SQL
Mhm.
database, that you have limited to, or NoSQL, whatever you have using. But in case of microservices, you can have operations in different ways. Maybe you can use for some of the operations for SQL, some of the NoSQL, some of them maybe you can go with store into S3 bucket, or some cases also maybe image, video kind of thing. So there are differences, as I said, from moving to monolith to microservices, but uh, it should be case to case basis. When these applications, what kind of applications are moving to microservices, and what kind of applications are moving to monolithic. Yeah, there are some applications if you look at, like some applications also Stack Overflow. This kind of is still running on the monolithic. It as I said, it depends case to case basis how you are going to handle it. So if you are going to CPU or memory, so you have to upgrade your CPU memory for scaling up, or if you are going for more request is calling, then you have to bring that application. That will also consume a lot of time, because the whole application
Mhm.
you have to bring up in a new instance. And also, if the cost
Correct.
perspective, if you look at also, that also for bringing it huge instance with lots of memory, everything also
Mhm.
brings some cost along with that.
Yes, vertical scaling will
Yeah.
be there
Yes.
only.
Right.
Horizontal will, yeah, go ahead. Okay. So, okay, so I want to I got your point. Okay. So I'm in microservices, how many ways you are doing communication? Currently, how the your microservices communicate with each other.
Okay. So for in our case, we have right now there is a application which is running on the Angular. That is a UI based application. We are using that is one of the applications we are using the APG. That is one of the open source gateway tools where we are going to register the applications on the FPG, and we are using API gateway. There is the point where you can going to connect to the application. I'm talking about the serverless base. So from the API gateway, we are connecting to the Lambda. That is one of the we were doing. So basically, the endpoint of the API gateway, which will be registered for the APG, and the applications also we are configuring on the APG sites that points from the applications point of view. So any request will register on the FPG network, and from there it will communicate to through API gateway to the Lambda function. And we have yeah, multiple Lambda functions. Again, from the Lambda functions to another Lambda functions, we are using different mechanisms like SQS, where or maybe we're also using the Kinesis in some of the requirements where the data will come to the Kinesis, and the Lambda will be fetched from that Kinesis. So this
Okay,
is
so
one. Yeah,
how you are tracing that, like how that call is going from one service to another service and all those, like like if how you are debugging the logs and all those. So what are the techniques you use?
right. Right now we are we are using a unique identifier when you are passing those requests in between different layers. So using those identifiers, right now we are every logs is going for the CloudWatch. If it is a API logs or it's a Lambda or or maybe the SQS, any of the logs we are putting into the CloudWatch, and from the CloudWatch we are taking to the Kibana. So on the Kibana, we could trace by using those ID. Basically, there will be when you are passing in between different layers, we are generating a unique ID, and using that we can check. And to take that, given request response, all these things for monitoring purposes, we have Datadog also we are using for that. Along with the CloudWatch, that logs also we are putting into a centralized way where we are keeping this data inside the Datadog. There also
Yeah, so I
we are
want to know like
tracing
how
the.
that ID you are generating. Like is it like a uh, transaction ID, like a HTTP transaction is like the call ID, or like it will be different ID for a different server service?
It is a different ID. Not different ID for different service.
We
It's the ID.
we have you worked like sorry, have you worked on
Yeah.
Spring Boot?
Yes.
Yeah, in Spring Boot we have one library to generate that. Might be if you used
Is it?
uh, or you have like your own implementation to generate that ID.
Right. So what we do is, I think that's UID. That is one of the way where you can generate the ID for a particular transaction, and
Yeah.
that
Mhm.
yeah, that ID we are circulating across different layers along when you are passing the call.
Okay, but like how you are adding that into the log? To that into the log, we have to extract that and put into the log, correct?
When you say logs means
You
see,
told that like we are putting all logs in the CloudWatch and from there we
right,
are
right,
doing
right,
Kibana. So
right.
to see that in a log, we have
Mhm.
to extract that ID from that your headers or like
Right, right,
or from your body like
right,
and then put into a log, correct?
right. So we are using there is a tool for that. I think that is MIDI we call it in the Node.js application.
Okay.
So on that, that BD will be wrap up the request which is coming from the UI, and it
Mhm.
will convert into a JSON because JSON is the best way to log into the cloud, where you can query the log using the CloudWatch inside, right? So
Mhm.
for that, the MIDI is taking the responsibility where it automatically convert your message into JSON format and log into the CloudWatch.
Okay. 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 So let's move to the next. So from your experience, like how many years you have for like a work on Spring Boot?
Spring Boot I have worked on, quite maybe more than 7 8 years. See, the thing is that I am not only working with the Spring Boot. There are other applications I used to work like on some of the applications, as I said, right? Some of the applications previously developing the applications using serverless using Java was quite difficult because there would be old startup which was taking a lot of
Mhm,
time. So to
mhm.
avoid that, we are moving towards the Node.js and Python. But right now they have come up with some mechanisms, right, where we're not touching the full startup. So for that purposes, right now we are thinking to move the Spring Boot applications, which is still running on the monolithic and small applications. There is a wrapper which provided by the AWS, and using that we can deploy the whole applications in Lambda. So that yeah. So as I said, I have worked on the Spring Boot and I can work also.
Currently, like in our company, this is like for, you might got from the HR also. Like we are in a pharma domain. Okay, so we
Mhm.
are like creating a data hub for the pharma, like a pharma domain. So which will be capturing all the information about the pharma. Like it's like a. So I want to know like if you want to create a data hub. Okay, you will get a information from like a web page, from like a journals. Okay, so like then newspapers, there will be a PDF files. So
Mhm.
and like there will be a website, then there will be like some uh, XML files,
Right.
sorry, Excel files,
Right.
XML files. So like from this, like these are the like multiple types of data
Mhm.
you has a input. Okay,
Right.
so you have to club this and you have to generate the information or store the information. So how you will design your application to handle these things? So you 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 take some time. You think if you have any questions, you can ask, and then you can start.
Right. So these are some when you say we are going to store these applications. Um, so all are kind of I could say these are unstructured data, right? Web page, journals, PDF, website. XML
Yeah,
is kind of semi-structured, right?
Mhm.
Um,
So-
yes,
some are like a non-structured data, like a but the one which we coming from the Excel and JSON, that is a structured data. But
right,
from website and all those are not a structured data. Okay.
right. Okay. So, when you say, you'll get all these data and store it, and uh, along with that, are you retrieving those data to display in how, like, what is the purpose of storing those information and where you are going to display those information?
Yeah. So we are like sometimes like what happens. So research related data or like a plan related data. Plan means like a
Mhm.
health insurance plan related data.
Right.
Those are not gathered in a single place. Okay, it is
Mm-hmm.
scattered everywhere. Like there is no single place where you can see all the plans of all companies and all those. Okay, so
Right.
you need like you have I told you correct, like we are creating data hub and kind so there will be a single place where all data will be there and we will be creating a data hub. So in
Right.
single place, and that's we can sell to other companies also and all those people also. Okay, so
Right.
so to create that, you will not get that data directly from like XML and all those, or you cannot send the people your people to those company and get that information and feed into your application. You have to gather that from the websites and like from your leads and all those. So the data will be in a different format. So you
Mm-hmm.
have to club that in a such a way so that it will be form like a information and it will be stored in your application.
Okay. Okay. I got it. So basically, what I understood, you are going to analyze those data once you get all this data and club everything, put somewhere research related data, means somewhere you have to take and analyze those data using some tools or something, right?
Yes.
Okay. So um, Uh, so let's say there is something we have to look at. So there is one is you said web page. Maybe you have to call the web page, to get the information from the web page. So these are all these like journals, PDF. Uh, uh, so these are kind of um, that data which are unstructured data. So when you look at the unstructured data, I guess S3 is the best place where you are going to store these data. Okay. After that, we have to use somewhere like maybe to bring those information in a specific way. I could say AWS Glue. There is one of the services where you can extract those data and transform and load, create a data catalog for these taking those informations from so it the Glue is one kind of services where it's basically look into the, let's say if you are going for a web page and storing that, it will go in uh, a specific way where you will find out what could be the headers, what could be the columns, and what could be the rows. In that way, it will create a uh, data catalog, and from there we can pass this information to see, yes, this is a information I could see, this is a huge information we are taking. Maybe it will be terabytes of data, maybe something kind of, because you are taking the data from across web pages, journals, PDF. So I think we'll take these informations to AWS Redshift kind of, where you have data process the data in a format where you can put into the Redshift, and there you can using some queries we can
Okay.
retrieve those informations. And there are a few things, because when
Uh-huh.
you look at the AWS Glue or Redshift, these are the information. Redshift is not only connecting to the unstructured data, but also it's taking the data from the structure. You can connect to RDS database, you can connect to S3, you can connect to NoSQL database as well. So let's say if you
Uh-huh.
are storing the data as a JSON, so JSON format, I could say, NoSQL database is the best way where you can, it can JSONs, so it doesn't have the uh, particular fixed number of columns or anything. So JSON can be extended to any format, so that you can store maybe inside a DynamoDB or something, where you have the partition key, sort key. Along with that, you can put the JSONs. Uh, or you are having the PDF somewhere you can take the header information where you are storing those PDF inside those S3. So that information also we can put into the uh, into the DynamoDB, and where the file is stored, that we can put
Okay.
into the S3 bucket. For XML files, XML also we can directly put into the um, DynamoDB as well, because
Uh-huh.
extracting those informations will be quite easy if you look into the for the Redshift. If you are using some
So
CSV,
have you worked
yeah,
on DynamoDB?
yes, I worked on DynamoDB.
Okay. So what is the main use like why you choose that DynamoDB? What was the rationale behind that?
So DynamoDB, it's you know uh, all the behind the services, everything, building the database, all these things taken care by the AWS. So only thing is that it's
Mhm.
it is a distributed way, and it's a NoSQL database, and it store the data into multiple edges, and you can define your there are read and write operations you can define as per as per your request. So you have the
Uh-huh.
on-demand way where you can put the read-write request, or you can put in a provision way where you know, okay, these many requests will come per seconds. As per that, also you can store it, and uh, and data as the data will be replicated into multiple edges or multiple read replicas. So they are using some read replica and write replica. So it's very less chances where you are going to lose the data. Second is if you can store the data in terabytes, petabytes on that way. So because
Mhm.
they are using the key value format, if you look at the partition key and sort key, using that you are creating they're creating an index, and you have you could not search all the rows. You have to define whether you are going for primary a key like using the data using the partition sort key, or you can create your secondary index, local secondary index, where you can query that using the local secondary index. So there are ways to create the local secondary index
Okay,
during
got it,
during
got
the
it.
creation of the tables, and you can query those. And also you can you have the mechanism where you can create DynamoDB in multiple regions, where you can sync the data in between those regions. Let's say if you are
Mhm.
updating the data some other regions, that automatically will flow to your regions. So there will be global way where you can also maintain. So that is if you are user base in across the world, or you are having or across some regions, then you can think of um, to minimize the latency to get this. Also, you have the dynamic DynamoDB accelerator DAX. That's the service where it provides, if you have a lot of read-only read calls from the DynamoDB, maybe you can think of to use the DAX to avoid getting into always to get into the DynamoDB and get this information. DAX is a caching kind of mechanism where you can store the data, the multiple requests is coming from the same kind of data. So it will take from the DAX and provide response back to the user. So that will
Okay,
be speed up the process of getting the response.
got it, got it. Okay, so coming back to our main, okay.
Hmm.
So in have you worked like a VR? I want to know how you crawl data from the website, okay, and like how you will extract that and put. So have you worked on any crawling mechanism, or have you worked like a PDF processor, all those things?
See, crawling of data, I have not worked dedicatedly, but I did
Mhm.
something. There are some beautify tools or something I do not remember. But using
Mhm.
those tools, you can extract the data and store into the S3 bucket or someplace.
Okay.
Uh,
Okay.
for PDF, yeah, PDF, we can. I have worked on the one of the requirement using Python. So
Mhm.
using the Python, they have some modules actually where you can you can read the PDF and extract the data from the PDF. There are few of the things where we have some requirements like where you are getting those PDF, extract the data from the PDF. So we are using some kind of AI tools for this to match
Uh-huh.
with some of this like AWS recognitions or some this kind of tool or text extract. These tools we are using right now to extract some data from the PDF. So yeah,
Okay.
it is yeah.
Got it. Okay. So I have let's move to the next. Okay. So you have experience in a UI development,
UI, yes, I have worked on the Angular with
Angular.
TypeScript, JavaScript. Yeah,
Okay, Angular and TypeScript. One second. So how much experience you have in Angular and TypeScript?
it's around 5 years. I could say.
Okay. So as per my knowledge, if person knows TypeScript, he can able to understand React also. Most of the
Yes,
functions
yes.
the
Uh,
same here. Here in
yeah.
our in our company, we are building application mostly in a React. So
Okay.
is that
Yeah, so the way it is handled is quite same, how the Angular and React work, because everything is going in a modular way. You have the component, you have the modules, different modules you have to interact. But the callback and all these things might be little different, how the React works, how the types of the Angular works. But I think if you work on the Angular, you can any of the tools, either React, Angular, or Next.js, any of the tools you can work, you can understand others.